I am Stephanie Liu, and welcome to another episode of Showrunner Secrets from the Set. Now, this is the episode that you have been waiting for. We've been talking about the magic of remote live video production, the evolution of live streaming, and how live streaming is in demand as a career. So becoming a remote live video producer is definitely something that you want to pursue. And today in this episode, we're going to talk about how much you should charge for your services. So if you're just tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from, because we are going to hit the ground running, and I've got templates for you. You know how we do. Let's do this. 'Cause it's finally, yeah. All right, so we are talking about how much should you charge for your services. Throughout the entire series for Showrunner Secrets from the Set, we've talked about the evolution of live streaming, what's changing in the game, how you can take your love, your passion for Ecamm and turn it into a career that gives you that freedom and that flexibility to make a positive impact into the world. Because some people really want to jump in front of the camera, but they don't want to handle all of the tech, and that is where you come in, right? Because Ecamm obviously makes it so easy. What you need for today is going to be the pricing calculator. You're going to head on over to ecamm.tv/pricing, and that will give you free access to the estimate that you are going to get today. And it's pretty simple. You get your first, last name, your email. Caleb and the crew will send that over to you, and they embedded the video too, so that's so nice to have. Make sure that you have that. Again, the link is going to be ecamm.tv/pricing. So then, having said that, let me go back and let's talk about knowing how to differentiate yourself. Knowing how to differentiate yourself, because you're not just a scene switcher. You're not someone that just says, oh, I could push a button and I could change the different cameras. No, you offer so much more value to a client. You know how to keep a run of show engaged. If you come from a social media marketing background like myself, even like Tim Sohn, we know how to get people buzzing about an event before it even starts. If you think about everything that you've ever learned about live streaming, you know how every single one of the platforms are different. So you know what works and what doesn't work. So this is what we're going to do. You already have your pricing calculator. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So the first thing that we generally do with our pricing calculator is we figure out, well, what is our hourly rate? How much are we actually going to charge? Now, in some cases, you could have different costs across the country. Right? So for someone like a scene switcher, I really boil that down to something as simple as when you have a run of show, you are just switching the scene. That's a very simple job for someone to do on my end. I've had my nephew come in and help me, and he's a college student, and so it could be anywhere from like $25 to $35 if I wanted to. It's really up to you on how you want to do this. I usually set up what are the different roles that are going to play into this actual production. So a scene switcher, if that's all that they know is to switch the different scenes, how to set up the scenes in Ecamm, right? That could be a possible rate. Okay, that's up to you for you to decide. Then I have my producer, and my producer is the right-hand person where if I need to step out for a second, do a quick tech check with someone, get the client on board, all of those different things, that's the rate that I'm going to have there as well. These are actual prices that I've done before. And then the executive producer is the one that's calling the shots as far as what's the run of show, what's the event, interfacing with the client. There's pretty much kind of like your account manager, but also knowing the technical know-how behind everything. And then you have the strategist, which another strategist is knowing as far as the whole entire event. How is this whole entire thing actually going to play out? When we're talking about the different roles that are going to actually play in the production, I want you to be mindful of that. So going back over here, so you have the scene switcher, you have a producer, an executive producer, as well as a strategist. If you are also doing design for a client, let's say like the overlays, then you could add that as an extra role into who is playing a part in all of this. So what you want to do then is you're going to add every single one of those rows into your staffing. And so we keep this pretty simple as far as my team goes. We have a scene switcher, a producer, executive producer, and strategist. If your client is doing their own graphics, right? If your client is doing their own graphics as well, that's fine. You would still have a strategist or someone saying, hey, these are the specs that I need in order to produce the actual show. Think about the different roles that are actually going to play into your production. If you're like, oh my God, well, how much should the hourly rate be? It's very simple for me because I come from an HR background. And the way that this really boils down to is the average salary of a director of social media strategy, which is the role that I have with live streaming layered on top of it in the state of California, is roughly about $85,000 a year to $135,000 a year. You could boil that down into an hourly rate, and that's what makes sense. Same thing for like a social media manager. Those are the numbers that I keep in mind. You can go to websites like Indeed.com or just plug it in and figure out what works best for you. That's going to give you an idea as far as how much to charge. So when most people are always asking like, how much should I charge for my services? I'm like, well, if you look at job descriptions, and you could just write, you could see it now. It's like live video producer. Put that into like a Google search and you'll see what the salaries are of what they're paying people in-house. When you have this actual calculator, this is what you want to play around with. You could put in the different costs that you want to. Let's say I want to give this person here $35. Maybe I want to make this $100. That's fine. Do whatever it is that you have to do. Then let's move on to the actual calculator. Remember when we were talking about the production of the event and all the different steps that go into going live? We all know that going live isn't just, okay, let's just hit the go live button. When you're doing an actual production as a remote live video producer, you're thinking about the run of show, the creative assets, how many people are involved. Yes or yes? Yes. So then this is what's going to happen next. This is now what you have. The very, very first tab is called virtual event. This is very typical for Lights Camera Live. I made it very simplified because there are those of you that are just starting out on this journey and I didn't want to overcomplicate it. The first thing that we generally have is discovery. It's a discovery call, and that could be however long it needs to be. Sometimes if I'm working with an event organizer, I'm also talking to the chief marketing officer and the other key stakeholders, and it might just be a long meeting. So you could have one 1-hour meeting as your discovery call, or you may have like, oh, the event organizer was so impressed, now they want you to hop onto a next meeting. So then, hey, that's 2 hours of my time for me to talk and re-explain what it is that we're able to do. If I know what the hours are and I know who needs to be there, right? My scene switcher doesn't need to be there. The strategist needs to be there. The strategist is your closer. The strategist is the visionary that says, we have case studies, we've worked in different industries, all the different things. You just select it from the drop-down menu. Do not mess with this. And when I say do not mess with this, I mean like don't try to type in stuff in here because it's already pre-built for you. It's basically pulling in data from the very first tab. Okay, so you're going to say the strategist needs to be there. Once we have that all lined up, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up Asana or whatever project management tool that you have. We use Asana because it's simple. I have all my templates already there. I could duplicate it and then run the show, right? So we set up Asana, and that usually takes the producer about 2 hours. We already have our templates in there as far as like, okay, where's the run of show, who's involved, tech rehearsals, all the things. So it's organized in there. 2 hours, that is being like really fast. That is knowing that your client knows what they know. And Kevin Lyons, who's probably in the audience, he's like, 2 hours would be nice, but maybe we'll make that 4 hours. And so you're just estimating the hours of how long it's actually going to take. What we've realized in the agency world is that no matter how long you think it's going to take, multiply it by 3, because you may be doing ping pong emails, back and forth, playing Zoom tag, and that's going to be an opportunity for you to finalize all the details that you need. It's as long as you have like your client intake of all the things that you need, then you should be good to go. Back to this. So setting up Asana is training your client to be a good client and in knowing how to follow instructions. If you don't already have a project management tool, I implore you to get one. I don't know about you, Kevin, Tim, I hate email. I hate emails like per my previous email, blah, 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 blah. No, don't even talk to me about that stuff. Put it in the actual task. Put in your comments that are tied to that specific task. Anthony is saying that this is some amazing account manager training. Yes. This is account manager training basically at that point. So you're going to set up Asana, teach the client on how to be a good client. That means you have your client intake, you get the creative assets, you have deadlines. You are going to hold your client to abide by those deadlines. And if he or she does not abide by those timelines, then you can't guarantee the success of the show the way that they need it to be, right? Let's just be honest. So you'll set up Asana and then your run of show. Depending on how long your event is going to be, this could vary. Tim and I, we worked together on, oh my gosh, a 13-hour live broadcast, and we probably spent like 8 hours, maybe even just setting that up, right? Because there are so many changes that we had to do. The different scenes, as you know, we have a lot of scenes in Ecamm where you could flow one into the other. So let's just say conservatively, it's going to take you about 4 hours to have like a run of show. Also, when I talk about run of show, when I'm talking about the run of show, it's actually the development of it. So do you remember when I gave you the video script maker, the intros, the hooks, the headlines? We talked about why it's important to have an MC to carry you along for the show, why having energy is super duper important. So your run of show, either you're developing it, you're working with the client to actually have that run of show. And it's going to say who is involved, who's passing the mic from one person to the other. That's where you're saying, well, what overlays need to be there? What sponsors do I need to call out, etc., etc. You're going to go through that fine tooth comb. Once you actually have that document, I mean, even if you wanted to, you could go in here and you could just insert another line where it says like, let's have another meeting. Let's say review ROS. And the person that's going to be there is going to be your producer. And that should probably take you like 2 hours to review, because maybe, just maybe, the event organizer is like, well, you know what? Maybe we should do this, or maybe we should do that. So then you're going to review the run of show with your client. This is where you're going to have a real conversation with them to really talk about like, okay, can this presenter keep people engaged that they're going to stay until the very end? Or if they're asking, let's say, for donations, do you really want to have like the big ask right after that specific presenter? Because how long are people actually going to pay attention to the actual event stream? Does that make sense? So then you're going to have your tech rehearsal. This tech rehearsal is absolutely crucial, and Kevin Lyons will absolutely tell you as well. When I put this 1 hour here, this was a simple event because we were just going to have like 2 speakers and that's that. If you are having multiple speakers coming in from different areas, work on this, right? So let's say we'll make this conservatively 4 hours, and it's not only just going to be you, but it's going to be your producer as well. And the reason for that is you want your producer to build rapport with the client as well. So that way you don't always have to be the one that's like connected umbilical cord to your client. You're building rapport to say like, this person that I have worked with is someone that I absolutely trust. And if you have any questions, reaching out to my producer is going to make sure that you are in good hands. So I always like to have someone alongside with me. The other thing that's really helpful for you to know is, and I don't know if you guys do this a lot, but especially in negotiations, you never want to be outnumbered. I just learned this today. Repetition makes a deeper impression. So you never want to be outnumbered when you are negotiating. If I am going and I'm sharing the proposal, if there's 2 people on their side, there's going to be 2 people on my side too. Even if I'm the one that's just going to be talking. It's a power thing. It's a psychology thing. I'm just going to throw that out for you. So tech rehearsal. Remember everything that we talked about in the tech rehearsal. You're going to have the speakers come in. That's going to be your opportunity to talk to them about their setup, the lighting, the microphone, and all the different things. That's your opportunity. Now, in the very last episode that we had, Joe Floyd was here and he was talking about when you're doing these tech rehearsals, take a screenshot of the speaker's setup, because when you're doing the tech rehearsal, you're giving them advice about where their mic placement needs to be, how they need to adjust the seat, if they need to move back, take a screenshot. And so as soon as they log in, you're comparing picture A to picture B. And if they don't match, you're like, I think you're supposed to do this. In your tech rehearsals, it's always helpful to know like, well, what is the gear that they're going to use? You're going to have people and are like, I don't want to wear headphones. And it's like, okay, great. So you want to look like crap? I know, I said that. It's true though. I needed a sound effect for that. It's like, you got to be honest with them. If they're paying you this much dollars for you to produce an event and a speaker wants to show up because they're way super cocky, that's where you got to like humble them. That's what you got to do. So that's going to be your tech rehearsal. Take them seriously. When we first did our estimate too, we said, okay, it's going to be this many people. And then the client came back and was like, actually, we're adding this many more people now that we know what Ecamm is possible of doing. We would like to add more people into the roster. And so it's a simple change order in the SOW. Right? I know this is like nerdy stuff. It's a simple change order of like, okay, cool. Well, then that's how much extra this is going to have. Shout out to Drew who is saying proper rehearsals also helps the presenters. It's a service. Yes. Everything that people are saying in the comments, if you haven't thought about that before, I'm putting it on the screen because these are things that you want to use when you are having conversations with a client. This is how you are handling objections. You have your tech rehearsal, and then you have the live streaming setup, is what I was actually talking about earlier. And that's going to be setting up your scenes and your folders in Ecamm. There's so many different amazing things that you can do. Countdown timers. That also means for me, my Stream Deck. My Stream Deck is like everything. My Stream Deck is on lock. I have different folders for all the different shows that I have, and it takes me a while to put this together. And so we'll run through it. Your producer is going to run through it and make sure that the overlays tie in with the overlays with the sound effects and all the different things. So on average, let's say that's going to be 2 hours. And then for the actual production itself, this is where you can have the strategist involved. In most cases, it's probably just going to be your executive producer, and then your live stream production, which is your second producer. This is very helpful depending on what the event is going to be. So for this one, this was like a 13-hour live broadcast that we did, and that's how many total hours that we had for this project. Depends, up to you, how long it's going to be. If it's only a 4-hour conference, you still have to have at least set up before and then break down after, because you're still going to have a debrief with the client. Okay, so let's say if it's a 4-hour event, I'm going to make this 6, and then the producer is probably going to be there like 7, because I want them to run through all of the scenes and do what it is that they have to do. It's helpful to have a producer who's very, very detail oriented. So that's live stream production, your executive producer, and then you have a live stream production and then your producer as well. What we're looking at over here then is your hourly rate. And again, this is coming from the sheet from the previous one that we worked on. So your hourly rate all goes over here. Then this next column over here is talking about fixed costs. This depends if you already talked about this in your discovery call that you're saying, okay, so for the run of show, we will create the creative assets for you. So let's say you're creating the creative assets for how many speakers, and I'm just going to throw a number out there and it's going to say 500. That's a low number, but you never know. You have amazing people like Bradley Vincent that are absolutely crushing it, and maybe that might be a number that works. I'm not going to price anchor him right now. Then what happens is that the total cost, this G column right here, it's looking up who you have there, the hourly rate multiplied by the number of hours plus the fixed cost that you have and how much the total event is going to be. Now that number may look big, but again, this is for a virtual event. For those of you like Kevin that do big events, that number could be small. But what you're looking for right now is you're estimating the hours as far as what makes sense for you. This is a very, very, very simplified pricing calculator in that sense. What I generally like to do is anytime there's something new that pops up, I just insert another one above, and then I'm just playing around with the rates. What I like about this cell right here is that it's giving me the blended hourly rate. So I'm saying like basically $160 an hour to produce this whole event. That's pretty much what I'm saying. The client isn't seeing the 100s, the 250s, and the 350s. They're seeing what's called, in my agency world, we call it the blended rate. It's the average of everyone that's putting their hat into the ring to make sure that this event is going to be successful. Even if you have people that are like, oh, I don't know if I could afford your services. This is why Ecamm is so amazing, is because you could say, well, do you have sponsors? Do you have sponsors? Because if you have sponsors, this is what we can do for you. We could do an intro video, we could do overlays, we could do call outs, and now you've taken them out of like, oh my God, this is a problem. I can't afford this problem. You're like, no. Let me show you what's possible. Let me show you how our other clients were able to cover the cost of the virtual event. Let's talk about other types of events that you can put together. Okay, so let's say that's your virtual event, roughly a 4-hour event. That's how long it's going to take. Again, prices can vary depending on how many speakers, if you're the one that's creating the overlays, or if the client in-house is going to go ahead and take care of that. What I have actually seen is that some event organizers have actually sent out Logitech Brios and an external mic to their speakers. I love that because then that gives you an opportunity to know like what specific gear that they're going to use. Let's move on to the next spreadsheet that we have. So let's talk about the recurring show. A recurring show is very, very helpful these days in the sense that if you are going to be producing a show for someone else, let's be honest, there are course creators, other influential people, authors who want to go and live stream but don't want to deal with all of the tech. And that's okay. That's honestly why remote live video production came to be, because it was like, if I could just, and I heard this from all of my clients, Stephanie, if I could just sit in front of the camera and you took care of all the overlays, I would absolutely love that. That's how remote live video production came to be. I was like, I could totally do that. I just give you a link, boom, you're in the interview room and you're good to go. So let's talk about if you are producing a show on a regular basis for someone else. This also applies if you are doing for like weekly church services. But mind you, I know some churches go like all out. I've done this for one of the religious organizations that we have here in town. And what had happened is that they had to do like a town hall to explain, we're opening the doors again. Let me show you the proper way to enter the building and still socially distance, and then how to exit the building as well. So these are like announcements. And these were announcements that were leading back up into their opening. So you have your production call. Your production call is usually where you're talking about, okay, so what's happening in this run of show? Usually it's going to be the same run of show every single week. Hopefully it's not that different, right? So this is where you really just need a producer. It's probably going to be like an hour every time. Let's say that's going to be $100. Then you have your tech rehearsal, your run of show. Your run of show, as I said before, isn't really going to change that very often. So give that maybe like even just a half hour, touch base, figure out what needs to change, and you're good to go. Then the live stream setup, jumping back into Ecamm, changing the overlays the way that you need it to, changing the names, whatever it is that you have to do, and then the live stream production. Even if the live stream is going to be an hour long, I usually give it, depending on like the client. If it's a good client, I only need to be there like 15 minutes beforehand because we've got a good relationship. We've got everything in Asana and we know how to like communicate. If it's a client of mine that just like, I know usually hops from like one meeting to the other, I might make this like an hour and a half. Like, okay, we're just going to meet up and I'm going to make sure that you're all squared and good to go. So then on average, then we're saying if I'm doing a weekly show for you, or if we're even just doing every other week, that's probably about 4 hours of my time, of the team's time. So then it's going to pull in your hourly rate. If you have any fixed cost, if that's going to be a thing for you, and then your total cost, that's your number. That's basically what you're putting in your proposal. So anytime you're doing this, you're going to be mindful of what are the steps involved before, during, and after. If you were doing, let's say, recurring show, but now you're doing some other badass things. Now you're like repurposing content. That's probably going to be, I would say, not necessarily say you're a strategist. For our team, it usually takes us like an hour to repurpose content. That's just because we're fast. Let's say that that's going to be your 350, and then this is going to be your sum for all my spreadsheet heads that are there. Then you're looking at that 750. And your repurposing content could be like you're turning it into a blog post, an audiogram, short form videos, IGTV, stories, all the things. That's what's going to be really helpful for you. A lot of you are in the comments right now talking about the drop kits. I absolutely love that you're doing that. In the last episode, if you didn't catch that one, we were also even talking about makeup tips for men, like what to wear, or for those that like, even because they're not used to lights, maybe if they sweat a lot, like blotting sheets and all the different things. Keep that in mind. Remember, even in the previous episodes, we were talking about how to prep your clients. Please go back to that episode. Start making your prep sheets, because not everyone is going to remember what you said during your discovery or in your tech rehearsal call. So if you give them something that they could like look at and be like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to have. And that's going to be very helpful. Now let me show you something that's actually, that is my favorite. I'm going to be really excited about this. So some of you are asking, well, Stephanie, how do you actually get leads? How do you get people to hire you? And the one thing that I use right now is a service called GroupTrack CRM. And basically what this does is that because I live stream a lot on Facebook, I get a lot of leads coming into my direct messages, people that are watching the show, sharing the show, and all that other stuff. And what's so nice about this is that I could actually follow up with those leads. It basically turns my social media into a lead generating, income producing machine. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Because what happens is that when people are actually leaving comments on a show, that's an opportunity where I could put them into a funnel. So it's like discovery, intro, awareness. Do they want to download that media kit, or remember all the other stuff that we talked about before, the pricing sheet? That's an opportunity for me as well as my team to keep track on what's going on over there. So this is called GroupTrack CRM, and I'll show you how it works. I'll just have to figure out who is going to be my guinea pig for this when we have this process. What's nice about this is that you could also use this with your VA or your external team, work with them and be like, hey, I need you to follow up with this person. This person came in. It's basically, it's your social CRM, client relationship management tool. You can have snippets of messages that drive people to your lead magnets, to your webinars, or wherever they can learn more about you already in there. It's so sick. I can't wait to show you how this is going to work out. So then you could rinse and repeat the process. You could use it anywhere. You could use messenger snippets, follow along in the conversations and whatnot. The best way to dip your toe into this is for you to launch your own show, because then you'll understand all the nuances that come along with Ecamm. Then you also have the wonderful, the amazing Ecamm Live community where you can ask all of these questions. This is from Anthony. Anthony, what are some of the other various ideas you're thinking of for fixed cost? Thank you so much for asking this question. So fixed cost would be like if I were the remote live video producer and I came with me a virtual events platform. This is something that we are going gaga over in the social media strategist group, because AppSumo basically has a lifetime deal for runtheworld.com, which is like this other virtual events program. I actually really liked it. So imagine if you were jumping on a discovery call and you're saying, yes, I can remote live video produce your event, and here's a virtual events platform that comes with us. We already know how to set it up. If you're using other events platforms, Hopin, Hey Summit, all those different things, that's another added benefit as well. Other fixed costs could be the repurposing stuff. You have sessions going on, we will repurpose all of that content into blog posts, audiograms, podcasts, GIFs, all of that, okay? Brad just came in for a win. He's like, music if they need. Hey, yeah, music. Or other fixed costs could be you creating, let's say, maybe mini commercials for their sponsors. Because now they're like, oh, wait, you could do bumper videos, intros, outros, and all that other. You could do a countdown timer. These are additional layers that you could add into your fixed costs. Let's go back over into GroupTrack. So this is what I'm using basically to find out who our leads are going to be and how I'm going to follow up with them. Let me give you an example of how this actually looks like. I'm pulling back the curtain on like so much for you guys right now. Let's go back over here. So here's what's going to be really helpful. Katie, I'm going to use you as an example. So let's say I'm going to add Katie in here, and then I'm going to set the stage. The stage is basically how I'm building my relationship with this person, because there's always stages when you're making a sale. So let's say if was going to be Katie, I identified her as a prospect. And then she's going to be in the system, and then my team can follow up. I'm going to show you Mike Alton because I know that he's not going to be mad if I show his stuff. But if I were talking to Mike Alton, this is where I could send him a snippet, and I could pick a snippet that says, hey, you're interested in remote live producer. I already have a message in here that automatically says, hi, Mike, I'd love to hear more about your event. Here's my calendar to book a time to chat. And then there's the link. And then I could send the snippet, and boom, he's going to get a Facebook message directly from me. The reason why this is so cool is because when you're done live streaming, they want to know about you. If you're not using something like Agora Pulse where you could easily manage all of the comments, leads can get lost in the shuffle, which is why I use GroupTrack. Someone has asked me, Stephanie, I love your gear. How is it that you're doing that thing? Or tell me about that video script maker that you have. I'll load up the video script maker. Hi, Mike, here's the link to the video script maker. Let me know if you need anything else. Send the snippet. Boom, it's good to go. Success. So you could literally have a VA go in here and start building the leads for you. You'll notice here that I actually have different stages of where I have my clients. So awareness, lead capture tool, lead capture opt-in, email nurture sequences. If I'm getting their SMS, if I want to drive them to a sales page, if they want to schedule a discovery call, if they've purchased an actual product from me, or if they've purchased to have a strategy call with me to talk about this stuff. I'm literally pulling back the curtain to show you how I priced my services and how I'm actually funneling all of these leads. Mike Alton is also saying the ability to drop a custom timely message to leads is gold, because time is money. Time is money. They're already entranced with what it is that you have to offer that they want to follow up. All right, so let's talk about this some more. Other things that you could do in here is if I wanted to follow up, I could add a task and be like, follow up on VSM, because I know that he had asked me about Video Script Maker. I could go in and say, okay, if I sent it to him here, I want to at least give him maybe 2 days to check it out, and I'll set a time, and then I'll give myself a reminder, whether it's email or a text message or in the app itself, and then I'll create the task. And so that reminds me to go back and reach out to this particular lead and say like, hey, how did you like that video script maker? Do you think it'll be great for your event? I'm showing you how this works for us when we're tracking our leads, because Kelly, every time I go live, I've always told you, I get a new lead. To close on that lead, I follow up with them and I use this tool to say, these are all the different things that I can do. Here's the nice thing about this is that I also have an activity feed. So I know if my VA is going to jump in here to help close the sale, she already knows like what conversations we've already had. You could do this. So notice here, I have like all these different people popping up. I could always add them into my group track and find out where they are. So I have different groups where it's possible for me to get leads. There's a social media strategist group. There's a 360 marketing squad. If I go into my profile and settings, you can see that I have a bunch of different messenger snippets in here. People that are interested in remote live video producer. Hi name, I'd love to hear more about your event. Here's my calendar to book a time to chat. Boom. So anyone that is on that Facebook live feed that says, hey, I have an event that's coming up, I just send this message, get you on my calendar. That's the first task that I usually have clients do, get on my calendar. Don't try to DM me, because if we're talking about business, then you and I need to be on a discovery call. Other things, even if you're trying to grow your channel, for folks that were like, oh my gosh, I love showrunner secrets from this set. How do I subscribe? I already have a message for that too. Hi name, you can get notified when showrunner, lights, camera, live, all the different things are here. These are already pre-populated messages that I can send out. If I want people to join the social media strategist, I have different things in here as well. If people are interested in video script maker, hey, here's a link to video script maker. Let me know if you need anything else. Follow up on those leads. The different stages that I have is identify a prospect, build the relationship. If they're interested in NLP, because I do a lot of NLP for media training. Oh, you know what? That's another fixed cost, is media training. If you know how to help speakers get confident on camera, that's another fixed cost that you can add. So for example, for Lights Camera Live, we offer Captivate on Command, teaching your speakers on how to have fun with their presentations, knowing that they could use their hands and all the different things. So I have all of these different things in here as far as like lead capture opt-ins, email nurture sequence, sales pages. It's all in there. What we're talking about is GroupTrack CRM, turning your social media into a lead generating income producing machine. You're managing your organic outreach with the click of a button. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Friends, we are coming to the end of the hour where we've talked about so much about how to price your services. And not only that though, but I gave you an extra bonus as far as how to turn live streams into leads, right? All right, so then having said that, let's go ahead and roll the credits.